The South Wales Boxer Club 3rd Championship Dog Show on the 11th of November 1989. Because of 2 rings, could only video the dogs judged by Miss Liz Davies of Snarescow. The bitches were judged by Mr. John Eucas. Referee was Mrs. Joan Cox. We start off with Class 1, minor puppy dogs. There were 30 entries and 3 absent. Sandex Carlsberg at Kitwee, Sandex Hofmeister at Broadsmart, Creme Smooth as Velvet, Cumhoff Merv the Swerve, Copper Silk Thread, John Roy Soda Pup at Darleg, Dicol the Robert at Dreyfus, Santa Note Finger Red, Derwen Dapper, Sunhawk Norwatch Cavalier, Derwen Dictator, Weimar the Marauder, Weimar the Musketeer, O'Malley Wes Harry, Silverstein Candyman, BK Bold and Brassy, Winnewood Heaven Only Knows, Dorfus Dean Van Lines, Santa Noakes Hot Shot, Sue Mike Guildford Boy, Koza Love Me Do, Making Tracks to Harmore, Ajax the Warrior, Famous Taboo, Mycelim More Memories, Telcon Car Ocean Deep, and Skelder Singing Sleuth are the entries in this class. Once again, the first one to be seen in Class 1 minor puppy dog is number 52. Sandex Carlsberg at Kitwee, owned by Mrs. Lynette Davies, bred by Mrs. Sandra Cowell. Signed by the Norseman at Kitwee, out of Sandex Soderval. Born 18th of the 5th, 89. Sandex Carlsberg at Kitwee. Sandex Carlsberg at Kitwee.
Sorry, I think.
176. Sandex Hofmeister at Broadsmart. Owned by Mrs. C. Priest, bred by Mrs. Sandra Cowell. Signed by the Norseman at Kitwee, out of Sandex Sopimal. Born 18th of the 5th, 89. Sandex Hofmeister at Broadsmart. Number 30, La Creme Smooth as Velvet, owned and bred by Mr. and Mrs. J.W. and C. Chadwick, signed by champion Santa Noakes Robbie Redcoat, out of La Creme Dixieland Melody, born 26th of the 3rd, 89. La Creme Smooth as Velvet. Cumhoff Merv the Swerve, transfer applied for. Owned by Mr. and Mrs. A. and N. Hughes, bred by J. and Rita Lloyd. Signed by Shiloh Hooray Henry, out of Jacoba Carlon Lan at Cumhoff, born 5th of the 4th, 89. Cumhoff Merv the Swerve. Copper Silk Thread. Owned by Mr. T.J. Jones, bred by J.S. Jones. Signed by Trojan, Prince of Copper, out of Sweet Confection. Born 19th of the 4th, 89. Copper Silk Thread. 82. Genroy Soda Pop at Darley. Name applied for and transfer applied for. Owned by Mr. and Mrs. G. Regan. Bred by Mrs. Jenny Townsend. Side by Champion Genroy Put My Cork to Walk On. Out of Champion Genroy Lot Less Bother. Born 18th of the 4th, 89. Genroy Soda Pop at Darley. Die Carl the Robber at Rafos, owned by Mr. and Mrs. Philip and Barbara Greenway, bred by Mrs. Di Johnson. Side by Champion Rafos Cock Robin, out of Canix, Victoria, born 25th of the 4th, 89. Dicol the Robber of Rafos. Santon Oaks Ringo Red, owned and bred by Mr. and Mrs. Vincent and Annabelle Zammit, signed by Champion Santon Oaks Robbie Redcoat, out of Dolly Dots, born 8th of the 4th, 89. Santon Oaks Ringo Red. (183) Derwen Dapper, owned and bred by Miss J. Y. Richards, side by Champion Tygarth Blue Kiwi, out of Mealy Maxine of Derwen, born 23rd of the 3rd, 89. Derwen Dapper. Sunhawk Norwatch Cavalier, owned by Mr. and Mrs. A. and S. Heatley, bred by Mr. Eddie and Mrs. Helen Banks, signed by Champion Bits Shout and Roar, out of Norwatch Sunhawk Monroe, born 22nd of the 4th, 89.
That's what I just said.
Sunhawk Norwatch Cavalier.
Oh, well, you've done it. Did I tell you to bring Brother Bruce? That's it.
83. Derwen Dictator, owned by D.S. Greenslade and Miss D.E. Evans, bred by Miss J. Richards, signed by Champion Tygarth Blue Kiwi, out of Mealy Maxine of Derwen, born 23rd of the 3rd, 89. Derwen Dictator.
Yeah, got this working, didn't you? And that was it then, that was
49. Weimar the Marauder, owned by Jane Crease, bred by Mr. and Mrs. Phone, signed by Bonaire v. Vilganger of Marbleton, out of Weimar Best Bib and Tucker, born 3rd of the 5th, 89.
Yeah, and we have practice there. I think we went for about 4 weeks. I mean, the brains are good, so like he's only been to 4 open shows. 4 open shows.
Weimar the Marauder.
Yeah, I know. We'll get us for you. I can concentrate back on the local open shows.
71. Weimar the Musketeer, owned and bred by Mr. and Mrs. Mary Fone. Sire by Bonner v. Vilganger of Marbleton, out of Weimar, Bestford and Tucker, born 3rd of the 5th, 89. Weimar the Musketeer.
We always have it, yeah. I used to sit there and drink. You used to go out like that and see your breath. And I never used to feel the cold. Yeah. I mean, when we was kids, our first goes to Russia, then we were since I was about 6, 10. Our ice what we have when we was kids, they did fire drinks, and normally used to like the fire. It was lovely until our John didn't like fire.
Typical.
Then we could have
76. Lomarley wears Harry, owned and bred by Mrs. L. Goodwin, side by Tygarth Double Century, out of Canadian Hot Gossip at Lomarley, born 8th of the 3rd, 89.
I'd rather not have them, so then you get the drafts from that.
76.
And you know what his name is.
Lomarley wears Harry. 237. Silverstein Candyman, name applied for and transfer applied for. Owned by S.W. Williams, bred by Mrs. A. Howells. Signed by Silverstein Raffles, out of Silverstein Tinsel and Holly. Born 13th of the 3rd, 89. Silverstein Candyman. 163. B.K. Bold and Brassy, owned and bred by Mrs. Val Moss, signed by Shaffordian Bold Acclaim, out of V.K. Mutley's Girl, born 10th of the 5th, 89. B.K. Bold and Brassy. 217. Winniework Heaven Only Knows. Name applied for and transfer applied for. Owned by Mrs. Leslie Waring. Bred by Vanessa Ward Rogers and Ivan and Marion Ward Davis. Signed by Champion Tygarth Glenmorangie of General. Out of Good Heavens of Winniework. Born 24th of the 4th, 89. Winniework Heaven Only Knows. 17. Dorcas Dean Van Lines, owned by Miss Joanne Bullion, bred by Mr. and Mrs. L.K. Signed by MLK's Fernando Saul, out of Flibbit Gibbet of Seafeld at Dorf House, born 14th of the 3rd, 89. Dorf House Dean Van Lines. 113. Santon Oaks Hot Shot, owned by Mr. and Mrs. A. Humphrey, bred by Mr. and Mrs. Vincent Annabelle Zammit, signed by Champion Santon Oaks Robbie Redcoat, out of Santon Oaks Dolly Dot, born 8th of the 4th, 89.
Well, we did this week, John.
Santon Oaks Hot Shot.
1
138. Sue Mike Beaufort Boy, owned by Mr. and Mrs. K.L. and E.A. Lenger, and bred by Mrs. Sue Hall. Signed by Samuel Coster-Penny of Neakin, out of Sue Mike, the game's up. Born 4th of the 3rd, 89.
Yeah, this is it.
Sue Mike Beaufort Boy. $34. Co-star Love Me Do. Owned and bred by Mrs. Josie Cliff. Signed by Champion Tygarth Blue Kiwi, out of Merely a Dream at Co-star. Born 17th of the 3rd, 89. Co-star Love Me Do. Making Tracks to Harmore. Owned by Mrs. Maureen Wright and Mrs. S.F. Gorman. Bred by Mrs. Gregory. Signed by Champion Fairdawn Pheasant Plucker, out of Ingleway Special Edition. Born 14th of the 4th, 89. Making Tracks to Harmore. $201. Ajax the Warrior, owned and bred by Mr. S. Thorne and Miss S. Marsh. Signed by Bonaire v. Vilganger of Marbleton, out of Daredevil Duchess. Born 29th of the 3rd, 89. Ajax the Warrior. $118. Famous Taboo. Owned by Mr. and Mrs. S. James, bred by Mrs. Rudway. Signed by Champion 8 Bells of Seafeld, out of Tygarth Mirabel. Born 10th of the 3rd, 89. Famous Taboo. $39. Mycelin More Memories, owned and bred by Mrs. C. Chippendale. Signed by Mycelin My Memory, out of Blue Cap Huntsman's Cry for Mycelin. Born 18th of the 5th, 89. Mylisum More Memories. $193. Telcontar Ocean Deep, owned and bred by Mr. and Mrs. P and M.J. Saul, signed by Champion Beligga Wennington Beck, out of Telcontar Troubled Waters. Born 16th of the 4th, 89.
she's like my Harry's got the bitch and I've got the bitch. I'm just saying though, there's another dog that at least I reckon is better than yours. See, I liked it. Everybody else picked this one. Jane picked this one.
Telcontar Ocean Deep.
Mary says she saw it same to me. So I took it on and we said, Mary saw the other.
140. Skelder Singing Sleuth. Owned and bred by Mrs. Joy Malcolm. Signed by Champion Investigator of Abbeythorne. Out of Skelder Music Box. Born 6th of the 5th, 89. Skelder Singing Sleuth. The final 12 are Skelder Singing Sleuth, Sandex Carlsberg at Kittery, the Creme Smooth as Velvet, Dicol the Robber at Rayfoss, Santon Oaks Ringo Red, Sunhawk Norwatch Cavalier, Weimar the Musketeer, Mycelin More Memories, Coastar Love Me Do, BK Golden Brassy, Winnieworth Heaven Only Knows, and Making Tracks to Harmon. Come down to the final 7, a Skelder Saddler, Dicol the Robber at Rayfoss, Santon Oaks Ringo Red, Making Tracks to Harmon, Weimar the Musketeer, Coastar Love Me Do, and Mycelin More Memories.
Grab my sleeve if you want.
Skelder Singing Sleuth,
Thanks.
Dicol the Robber at Rayfoss, Santon Oaks Ringo Red, Coastar Love Me Do, and Weimar the Musketeer. First minor puppy dog was Skelder Singing Sleuth, second was Dicol the Robber at Rayfoss, third Santon Oaks Ringo Red, reserve was Coastar Love Me Do, and Great C with Weimar Musketeer. We're now class 2, puppy dog, 16 entries, 4 absent. We've seen Marancine Jiminy Cricket, Salmon Tony Eye of the Tiger, Donnet Gaston of Leedberg, Skelder Shuttlecock, Holland Miami Banker, Rupic Pieces of 8 at Sugarwood, Wild at Scales of Justice at Jicon, Susan Carr Ivan Inkling, Rock Villa Classic Rock, Will Rate Xerxes at Debranro, and Glen Paul Great Diplomat at Marley. One to be seen in this class is the Marley Where's Harry. First one to be seen in a puppy dog is 184, Marancine Jiminy Cricket, owned and bred by Vanessa Rogers and Marion and Gordon Senior, signed by Shaffordian Boulder Claim out of Forbidden Fruit of Winnieworth at Marancine, born 8th of the 1st, 89. Marancine Jiminy Cricket.
You haven't got this on the end of the lead. It is a bit of a handful.
254, Sam and Tony Eye of the Tiger. Owned by Mr. and Mrs. Matthews, bred by Phil Kelly. Sired by Rustar played the crowd at Santana out of Twinkle Toes of Sam and Tony. Born 2nd of the 2nd, 88. Sam and Tony Eye of the Tiger.
What's the place, is it? Them on the table.
171, Garnett Gaston of Leedberg. Owned by Mr. Peter Perry. Bred by Mrs. P. Walker. Signed by Champion Leagueberg Clinton out of Garnett Garland. Born 17th of the 1st, 89. Gaston of Liedberg. (167) Skelder Shuttlecock, transfer applied for. Owned by R&B Overd, bred by Mrs. Joy Malcolm. Side by champion Genroy Put My Court to Walk On, out of Skelder Pillow Fight at Caljury. Born 25th of the 11th, 88. Skelder Shuttlecock.
Oh, look now. Are you sure you might be here? Oh, hey there.
56. Holland Miami Banker, owned and bred by Mrs. Jackie Drew. Signed by champion Tygarth Glenmorangie of Genroy, out of Yelson Diamond Dollar at Holland. Born 6th of the 2nd, 89.
So this is going a bit over the top, okay?
Holland Miami Banker. (68) Rupic Pieces of 8 at Sugarwood, owned by Veronica Cleaver and John Cormack, bred by Mrs. Sheila Bowman, signed by champion 8 bells of Seafound, out of Rupic Liberty Bell. Born 19th of the 11th, 88. Rupic Pieces of 8 at Sugarwood.
Yeah.
(89) Wild Axe Scales of Justice at Chigon, owned by R&S Hay, bred by Wildman, signed by Phoebus von Rusticana at Wild Axe, out of Wild Axe Penny Blue. Born 17th of the 2nd, 89. Wild Axe Scales of Justice at Chigon. (23) Susan Carr Ivan Inkling, owned by Miss Dams S&S Carter, bred by L. Noden. Signed by Susan Carr Perseverance, out of Winsford's Lady Lucy. Born 22nd of the 11th, 88. Susan Carr Ivan Inkling. (64) Rock Villa Classic Rock, owned and bred by Miss Sadie Evans, signed by champion Tygarth Blue Kiwi, out of Verily's Winter Melody of Rock Villa. Born 8th of the 2nd, 89. Rock Villa Classic Rock. (187) Will rate the Xerxes at Debranra. Owned by Miss Maggie Carwadin, bred by Rita Williams. Signed by Bonaire the Vilganger at Marbleton, out of champion Will-Rate Tishkanesque, born 8th of the 2nd, 89.
Close.
Will-Rate Xerxes at Denbanro. Number 5, Glenfall Great Diplomat at Marvin. Name applied for and transfer applied for. Owned by Mrs. Pat Banks, bred by Mrs. Jean Harding. Signed by champion Glenfall the Gladiator, out of Glenfall Foreign Affair. Born 22nd of the 1st, 89. Glenfall Great Diplomat at Marvin. Barenstein Jimny Cricket, Sam and Tony Eye of the Tiger, Garnet Gaston of Leedberg, Skelder Shuttlecock, Holland Miami Banker, Rupic Pieces of 8 at Sugarwood, Wild Axe Scales of Justice at Chaigon, Susan Carr Ivan Inklin, Rock Villa Classic Rock, Will-Rate Xerxes at Debranro, Glenfall Great Diplomat at Marvin, and previously seen Lomali Where's Harry. Last 7 are Marenstein Jimny Cricket, Garnet Gaston of Leedberg, Rupic Pieces of 8 at Sugarwood, Wild Axe Scales of Justice at Chaigon, Holland Miami Banker, Susan Carr Ivan Inklin, and Glenfall Great Diplomat at Marvin. Garnet Gaston of Leedberg, Wild Axe Scales of Justice at Chaigon, Holland Miami Banker, Marenstein Jimny Cricket, and Susan Carr Ivan Inklin.
Find him anywhere, somebody might need one.
The first is Garnet Gaston of Leedberg, second Wild Axe Scales of Justice at Chaigon, third Holland Miami Banker, reserve Marenstein Jimny Cricket, and VHC Susan Carr Ivan Inklin. Once again, first puppy dog is Garnet Gaston of Leedberg. Class 3, Junior Dog, 9 entries, 1 absent. Santon Oaks Dandy Jack, Limeray Deal Again, Moldon the Fall Guy at Gwyn Howley, Jacoba the President, Black Taggart of Trinarca at Abbeythorne, Jimbren at Royal Scot, Daikal the Liston, and Helimar Bubble and Squeak. First one to be seen in Class 3 Junior Dog is 101, Santon Oaks Dandy Jack, owned by Mr. and Mrs. T.V. and K. Healy, bred by Mr. and Mrs. Vince and Annabelle Janet, signed by champion Santon Oaks Robbie Redcoat, out of Santon Oaks Annie's Song, born 6th of the 11th, 88. Santon Oaks Dandy Jack. Number 80, Limeray Deal Again, owned and bred by Mr. and Mrs. M.J. Gray, sired by Rustal Play for Pleasure, out of Limeray Spirit in the Night, born 4th of the 6th, 88. Limeray Deal Again. John the Fall Guy at Gwyn Howley. Owned by Mrs. Gwyneth Jones, bred by M. Davis, signed by champion Norwatch Sunhawk Raffles, out of Mo John Sporting Favour. Born 5th of the 11th, 88. Mo John the Fall Guy at Gwyn Howley. 54, Jacoba the President, owned and bred by Mr. Fred Elaine Davies, side by champion Fair Dawn Pheasant Plucker out of Pensing Silver Sonata at Jacoba. Born 4th of the 6th, 88.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Jacoba the President. McTaggart of Trinarca at Abbeythorne, owned by Mrs. Rita Tucker, bred by White, side by champion Investigator of Abbeythorne out of Athol Ebony Beach, born 16th of the 11th, 88. McTaggart of Trinarca at Abbeythorne. Jimbren Royal Scot, owned and bred by Mr. and Mrs. Jim and Brenda Grove, side by champion Rencliffe's Flying Scotsman of Wynnework out of Jimbren Super Stunt, born 6th of the 7th, 88. Jimbren Royal Scot. Dicol the Liston, owned by Mrs. Iris Morland, bred by Mrs. Di Johnson, side by Snarestone Eye Catcher out of Canix in Victoria, born 20th of the 6th, 88. Dicol the Liston. Dicol the Liston. Helimar Bubble and Squeak, owned by Mrs. Iris McEwen, bred by Mr. and Mrs. Waite, signed by Marvin Medallion out of Nursus Calibre, born 4th of the 9th, 88, and this is the last one to be seen in Junior Dog. Helimar Bubble and Squeak. Helimar Bubble and Squeak. Santa Oaks Dandy Jack, Limerick Deal Again. Mole John the Fall Guy at Gwyn Howley. Jacoba the President. McTaggart of Trinarca at Abbeythorne. Jimbren Royal Scot. Dicol the Liston. And Helimar Bubble and Squeak. Jimbren Royal Scot. McTaggart of Trinarca at Abbeythorne. Jacoba the President. Mole John the Fall Guy at Gwyn Howley. Limerick Deal Again, and Santa Oaks Dandy Jack.
Yeah.
First, Jimbren Royal Scot. Second, McTaggart of Trinarca at Abbeythorne. Third, Jacoba the President. Reserve, Limerick Deal Again. And BHC Santa Oaks Dandy Jack, once again first junior dog with Jimbren Royal Scot. Class 4 novice dog, 7 entries, 3 previously seen. Dollyag's Lord Marsh of Loch, Suldine the Spellmaker, and Valdenton Tropical Storm are the 3 to be seen. Tamarye the Tiger and St. Dandy Jack. First one to be seen in novice dog is 144, Dollyag's Lord Marsh of Loch, owned and bred by Mr. and Mrs. R. Marsh, shown by John Cormack, side by Fireball Prince out of Dollyag's Mid-Nightmare, born 8th of the 2nd, 88. Dollyag's Lord Marsh of Loch. Dollyag's Lord Marsh of Loch. 66. Suldine the Spellmaker, owned by Mr. and Mrs. A. Evans, bred by Mr. and Mrs. Kemp, side by Johnny Jester of Suldine out of Jacoba Lady Luck, born 8th of the 8th, 88. Suldine the Spellmaker. Number 7, Valdenton Tropical Storm, owned and bred by Barrett and Andrews, side by Wardo v. Domendal out of Tygarth Marmite, owned by them. Date of birth was 28th of the 3rd, 88. Valdenton Tropical Storm. Tropical Storm. Dollyag's Lord Marsh of Loch, Suldine the Spellmaker, Valdenton Tropical Storm, and previously seen are San Antonio the Tiger, Santon Oaks Dandy Jack, and Will Rate Xerxes at Debranro. First, Santon Oaks Dandy Jack. Second, Valdenton Tropical Storm. Third, Dollyag's Lord Marsh of Loch. Reserve Will Rate Xerxes at Debranro. And fourth, Suldine the Spellmaker. Once again, first novice dog was Santon Oaks Dandy Jack. Class 5, debutante dog, 14 entries, 1 transfer to graduate, 2 previously seen and 4 absent. We've seen Harmattan Hopeful Venture, Glenfall Expatriate, Clantine Magellan, Kivor $60, Royal Duke of Newport, and Winniework to Thank Heavens at Marazine. Glenfall Expatriate, Clantine Magellan, Kivor $60, behind Royal Duke of Newport, and Winniework to Thank Heavens at Marazine. Previously Previously seen Baldenton Tropical Storm, Santon Oaks Dandy Jack. First one to be seen in Debutante Dog is 157, Harmattan Hopeful Venture, owned and bred by Mrs. Iris Moorman, sired by Harmattan Heatherset out of Harmattan Hyperseum, born 9th of the 9th, 88. Harmattan Hopeful Avenger. Glenfall Expatriate, owned and bred by Mrs. Pam Broughton, sired by International Champion Tabor v. Rocker Bennett Limpine, out of Anya v. Domandal at Glenfall, born 15th of the 10th, 88. Glenfall Expatriate. (154) Clantine Magellan, owned and bred by Mrs. Jane Milton, sired by Casella Co-Star out of Casella Golden Delicious, born 9th of the 1st, 88. Clantine Magellan. $189. Kyvior $60. Owned by Mr. and Mrs. P. M. and A. M. Ross, bred by Mr. and Mrs. Matthews. Sired by Rustar Fine Time out of Rustar Town Gossip at Kyvior, born 12th of the 11th, 86. Kyvior $60. $155. Royal Duke of Newport, owned by Mrs. S.L. Mole, bred by Miss Sheila Cartwright, signed by Tygarth Fogcutter, out of Tygarth Piers Hogan, born 14th of the 2nd, 88. Royal Duke of Newport.
I've got 3 classes in the corner.
185. Winnieworth Thank Heavens at Marencine, owned by Vanessa Rogers and Marion and Gordon Senior, bred by Vanessa Rogers and Marion and Ivor Ward Davis, sired by Champion Tygarth Glen Morangi of Genroy, out of Good Heavens at Winnieworth, born 25th of the 8th, 88. Winnieworth Thank Heavens at Marencine. Harmattan Hopeful Venture, Glenfall Expatriate, Clantine Magellan, Kyvior $60, Royal Duke of Newport, Winnieworth Thank Heavens at Marencine. Previously seen are Baldenton Tropical Storm, Santon Oaks Dandy Jack, and Wilrate Xerxes at Debanro. Wilrate Xerxes at Debanro, Santon Oaks Dandy Jack, Baldenton Tropical Storm, Winnieworth Thank Heavens at Marencine, Royal Duke of Newport, Kyvior $60, Clantine Magellan, Glenfall Expatriate, and Harmattan Hopeful Venture. First, Wynneworth Craig Evans at Maronseen. He gains his junior warrant with this win. Second, Glenfall Expatriate. Third, Plantine Magellan. Reserve Santa Mary's Dandy Jack. And VHC Valdenton Tropical Storm. Once again, first debutant dog was Wynneworth Craig Evans at Maronseen, who gained his junior warrant with this win. Class 6, graduate dog. 10 entries, 1 transferred from debutant, 1 transferred from postgraduate and 2 absent. We've seen Seafeld Plum Duff, there's Walk on Paddywack, Susan Carr Rain or Shine, Burnley Money Talks, Tygarth Attitude Adjuster, Prince Woollyback Jumper of Wynneworth, Sir William Dean Ike, Genroy Sunday's Best at Santana, Genroy Noonbay's Sun over Yelson, the 1 late entry, Skelner Sadler, who's not in this lineup. Genroy Noonbay's Sun over Yelson, Genroy Sunday's Best at Santana, Sir William Dean Ike, Prince Woollyback Jumper of Wynneworth, Susan Carr Rain or Shine, Walk on Paddywack, and Seafeld Plum Duff. First one to be seen in Class 6 graduate dog is 103, Seafeld Plum Duff. Owned and bred by Mrs. Pat Heath, side by Seafeld Sun and Shadow, out of Seafeld Victoria Plum, born 10th of the 10th, 87. Seafeld Plum Duff. Two 216, Walk on Paddywack. Owned by Brian and Sheila Watson, bred by Yvonne Miller. Side by Champion Snarestone, Pinocchio of Tysack, out of Walk on Proper Little Madam. Born 19th of the 7th, 88. Walk on Paddywack.
Picked on the wrong one.
24, Susan Carr, Rain or Shine. Owned and bred by Mesdames S&S Carter, side by Susan Carr, Perseverance, out of Wild Acts, Likely Suggestion. Born 25th of the 3rd, 88.
And then you sort of caught the dog and brought him back.
Susan Carr, Rain or Shine.
Right.
177, Burnden Money Talks. Owned and bred by Mrs. J.L. and D. and Mrs. D. Pye. Side by Will Rate Ticker Tape, out of Monetary Miss of Burnden. Born 13th of the 9th, 86. Burnden Money Talks.
Eating again?
Yeah.
26, Tygarth Attitude Adjuster. Owned and bred by Sheila Cartwright, handled by Pat Varley, side by Tygarth Fog Cutter, out of Tygarth Double Whiskey. Born 14th of the 8th, 88. Tygarth Attitude Adjuster. Prince Woollyback Jumper of Winniwook, owned and bred by Mr. S. Thorne and Miss S. Marsh, side by Winniwook Good Samaritan, out of Princess Tahula Sunshine, born 5th of the 12th, 86. Prince Woollyback Jumper of Winniwook. (153) Sir William Dean Ike, owned and bred by Miss T.M. Mead, side by Seafeld Van Eyck, out of Ramblin' Rose, born 5th of the 2nd, 86. Sir William Dean Ike. Genroy Sunday's Best at Santana, owned by Mrs. Bernadette Whitfield, bred by Jenny Townsend, and shown by Tanya Whitfield, side by Genroy Night and Days, out of Bring Me Sunshine to Genroy, born 19th of the 1st, 88. Genroy Sunday's Best at Santana. Genroy Noonday Sun over Yelson, owned by Mrs. Barbara Wilkinson, bred by Mrs. Jenny Townsend, side by Genroy Night and Days, out of Bring Me Sunshine to Genroy, born 19th of the 1st, 88. Genroy Noonday Sun over Yelson. The late entry not in the first lineup, 141, Skelder Sadler, owned and bred by Mrs. Joy Malcolm, side by Skelder Bonanza Boy, out of Champion Skelder Pot Luck, born 15th of the 4th, 88. Skelder Sadler. Seafeld Plum Duff, Walk on Paddywhack, Susan Cart Rain or Shine, Burdened Money Talks, Tiger Attitude Adjuster, Prince Woollyback Jumper of Winniwook, Sir William Dean Ike, Genroy Sunday's Best at Santana, Genroy Noonday Sun over Yelson, Skelder Sadler. First, Walk on Paddywhack, second, Skelder Sadler, third, Tygarth Attitude Adjuster, reserve, Skelder Plum Duff, VHC Susan Carr Rain or Shine. Once again, first graduate dog is Walk on Paddywhack. Class 7, postgraduate dog, 10 entries, 1 transfer to graduate, 1 transfer to minor limit, 2 absent. We've seen Glenfall, the Vigilante at 4, Champion just in time, Bucksteps going for gold at Glenfall. Casella Casanova at Lutterwood. Homebush Dawn at Surprise at Corinna. And Tonitron All Glory of Wild Axe. Tonitron All Glory of Wild Axe. Homebush Dawn Surprise at Corinna. Casella Casanova at Lutterwood. Bucksteps going for gold at Glenfall. Janikin at Just in Time. And Glenfall the Vigilante at Paul. First one to be seen in postgraduate dog is number 161, Glenfall the Vigilante at Paul, owned by Mrs. Chris Morris, bred by Mrs. Pam Braun. Signed by champion Glenfall the Gladiator, out of Glenfall Typus Double, born 25th of the 8th, 86. Glenfall the Vigilante at Porth. (174) Janikin Just in Time, owned and bred by Mr. W. Potts, signed by champion General Put My Cork to Walk On, out of Georgette of Janikin, born 23rd of the 10th, 87. Janikin Just in Time. (224) Bucksteps going for gold at Glenfall, owned and bred by Mrs. Jenny Whittaker, signed by champion Glenfall the Gladiator, out of Bucksteps No Nanette, born 29th of the 1st, 88. Bucksteps going for gold at Glenfall. (109) Casella Casanova at Lottergood, owned by Mr. and Mrs. H. and H. M. Hemingway, bred by Mrs. Gillian Fenner. Signed by Casella Centurion, out of Casella Princess Leah, born 26th of the 2nd, 87. Casella Casanova at Lottergood. (147) Homebush Dawn Surprise at Corinna, owned by Mr. R. Martin, bred by Mr. and Mrs. Watts, sired by Corinna Change from 2 bits, out of Homebush Jessica Grazio, born 26th of the 5th, 87. Homebush Dawn Surprise of Corinna. (227) Tonitron All Glory of Wild Axe, owned by Margaret and Frank Wildman, bred by Sagra Tonkin, sired by Quibus V. Rusticana of Wild Axe, out of champion Tonitron Glory Girl, born 6th of the 1st, 88. Tonitron All Glory of Wild Axe. Glenfall the Vigilante at 4, Janican just in time, Quickstep's going for gold at Glenfall, Casella Casanova at Lottergood, Homebush Dawn Surprise at Corinna, and Tonitron All Glory of Wild Axe. Homebush Dawn Surprise at Corinna, Casella Casanova at Lottergood, Quickstep's going for gold at Glenfall, Janican just in time, and Glenfall the Vigilante at 4th. First, Tonitron All Glory of Wild Axe. Second, Quickstep's going for gold at Glenfall. Third, Janican just in time. Reserve, Glenfall the Vigilante at 4th. And VHC, Casella Casanova at Lottergood. Once again, first postgraduate dog was Tonitron All Glory of Wild Axe. Class 8, minor limit dog. 8 entries, 1 previously seen, 1 transferred from postgraduate dog and 1 absent. We've got Blue Cap up and away to Harmore, Sunhawk nor whatnot, Rustar played with crowd at Santana, seconds out of Lomali, Sula's Spitting Image at Lomali, Will Rate Whiskey Ginger, Danielle's He's a Cracker, Rustar played the crowd at Santana, seconds out of Lomali, Suledge Spitting Image at Lomali, Will Rate Whiskey Ginger, previously seen as 109 Casella Casanova at Lottergood, 1 late entry, Danielle's He's a Cracker. First one to be seen in minor limit dog is 242, Blue Cap up and away to Harmore, owned by Mrs. Maureen Wright and Mrs. S.F. Gorman, bred by Mrs. Gorman. Signed by champion Fair Dawn Flashbang Wallet, out of Join the Hunt at Blue Cap. For 28th of the 8th, 86. Blue Cap up and away to Harmore. Sunhawk nor whatnot, owned by Mr. and Mrs. Paul and Val White, bred by Mr. Eddie and Mrs. Helen Banks, signed by champion Stanley and Night Rider, out of champion Nor Watch Slightly Sozzled, born 23rd of the 4th, 87. Sunhawk nor watch whatnot. Rustar played the crowd at Santana. Owned by Mrs. Burnett Whitfield, bred by Sprankling. Signed by Rustar Play for Pleasure, out of Rustar Girls Talk. Born 17th of the 9th, 87. Rustar played the crowd at Santana. Seconds out of Lomali. Owned by Mrs. L. Goodwin, bred by Mr. and Mrs. Vince and Annabelle Zamid, signed by champion Santon Oaks Slick Sammy, out of Santon Oaks in Burn. Born 2nd of the 5th, 88. Seconds out of Lomali. Sule's Spitting Image at Lomali, owned by Mrs. L. Goodwin, bred by Mrs. Sue Drinkwater. Side by Champion Fairdawn Pheasant Plucker out of Sule's A Dolly Daydream. Born 27th of the 1st, 85. Sule's Spitting Image at Lomali. Will rate Whiskey Ginger, owned and bred by Mrs. Rita Williams, side by Abgar V. Bemerek of Marbleton, out of Champion Will rate Fiskinest, born 15th of the 8th, 87. Will rate Whiskey Ginger. Last one to be seen is 151 Danielle's He's a Cracker, owned by Mrs. Iris McEwen, bred by Mr. and Mrs. Farah. Side by Tygarth Double Century out of Fairfax Smart Girl, born 14th of the 6th, 85. Danielle, He's a Cracker. Blue Cap up and away to Harmore. Sunhawk nor watch Whatnot. Rustar played for the crowd at Santana. Seconds out of Lomali. Sule's Spitting Image at Lomali. Will rate Whiskey Ginger. Danielle, He's a Cracker. And previously seen 109 Casella Casanova at Lotterford. Danielle, He's a Cracker. Will rate Whiskey Ginger. Sule's Spitting Image at Lomali. Seconds out of Lomali. Rustar played the crowd at Santana. Sunhawk nor watch Whatnot. And Blue Cap up and away to Harmore. First, Rustar played the crowd at Santana. Second, Will rate Whiskey Ginger. Third, Blue Cap up and away to Harmon. Reserve, Sunhawk nor watch Whatnot. BXC seconds out of Lomali. Once again, first, a minor limit double with it. Rustar played to the crowd at Santana. Class 9, limit dog, 14 inches free action. Corinna Ryan Drive. Corinna changed from 2 bits. Corinna Objet Food at Gramier. Rustar Playtime. Tomlinson at True Glory. Vicalans Highlander at Tamarye. Bocken and Double of Quicks. Landor Dog Shadow of Lingua. Glenfall Windjammer. And Will Rate Ursa Major. One previous Will Rate Ursa Major late entry. The previously seen one just there was 77 seconds out of Lomali. First one to be seen in Class 9 limit dog is number 200, Corinna Ryan Dry. Now champion Corinna Ryan Dry, owned by Debbie Thika, bred by Mrs. Daphne North, sired by champion Tigard Glenmorangie of Genroy, out of Change Key of Kremlin, born 23rd of the 3rd, 88.
What's this? Hi, sweet. This is a good little dog.
Corinna Ryan Drive. Number 98, Corinna Change from 2 Bits. Owned by G. Harris, bred by Mrs. Daphne Norton, sired by Corinna Kolak, out of Change Key of Gremlin, born 14th of the 2nd, 86. Corinna Change from 2 Bits. Corinna OJ Crew at Dramia, owned by Miss M. Martian, bred by Mrs. Daphne North, sired by Quibus von Rusticana at Wildlands, out of Corinna Chaser Rainbow, born 24th of the 5th, 87. Corinna OJ Crew at Dramia. 190, Rustar Playtime, owned and bred by Mr. and Mrs. Paul and Tina Russell, signed by Rustar Play for Pleasure, out of Irish champion Rustar Townstalk, born 14th of the 9th, 87. Rustar Playtime. True Glory, owned and bred by Mrs. Sagra Tonkin, sired by Quibus V. Rusticana of Wildlands, out of champion Tonatrant Glory Girl, born 6th of the 1st, 88, and being handled here by Philip Greenway.
That's why I just very touchy. Because when she came back home, just get your hand behind your back and you won't touch your girl. Because when she kept me, I slowed up and touched his tail.
Tonatrant True Glory. Vicalans Highlander of Tamarye, owned by Mr. and Mrs. C.A. and J. Crutchley, bred by Mrs. Marion Granger, signed by champion Snarestone Pinocchio of Tysack, out of Vicalans Barbara Allen, born 20th of the 11th, 86. Vicalans Highlander of Tamarye. Bockenden Double Quits, owned and bred by Mrs. Peggy Ingram, side by champion Norwich Blockbuster out of Yunlin Colour by Numbers at Bockenden. Born 16th of the 7th, 86. Bockenden double or quits. Landor Dark Shadow of Lingua, owned by Mrs. Erica Tramner, bred by Mrs. Lorna James. Side by UK and Australian champion Summer Shadow of Gremlin out of Janmar Lady Red. Born 3rd of the 7th, 85. Landor Dark Shadow of Lingua. Glenfall Windjammer, owned by Miss Maggie Forwarding, bred by Mrs. Pam Broughton. Side by champion Glenfall the Gladiator, out of Glenfall Piper's Double. Born 25th of the 8th, 86. Glenfall Windjammer. Will Rate Ursa Major, owned by Mrs. Rita Williams and Mrs. Anne Meredith, bred by Mrs. Rita Williams, side by Will Rate Quite Likely out of Sweet Scarlet of Will Rate, born 22nd of the 5th, 85. Will Rate Ursa Major. Carinia Change from 2 bits, Carinia Objet True at Premier, Rustar Playtime, Tonatron True Glory, Vicalans Highlander of Tamarye, Bockenden Double or Quits, Landor Dark Shadow of Lingua, Glenfall Windjammer and Will Rate Ursa Major, and second out of Lamali previously seen. First, Vicalans Highlander of Tamarye, second Bockenden Double or Quits, third Carinia Ryan Dry, reserved Tonatron True Glory, and VXC Will Rate Ursa Major. Once again first in Class 9 Limit Dog was Vicalans Highlander of Tamarye. Class 10 Open Dog, 10 entries, 2 previously seen. Champion 8 Bouncer Seafowl, Champion Sharmby's Hustler of Stainmere, Champion Leagueburg Clinton, Champion Bitter Shot and Roll, Rustar Play for Pleasure. Champion Bitter Shot and Roll, Champion Leagueburg Clinton, Champion Sharmby's Hustler of Stainmere, and Champion 8 Bells of Seafowl. First one to be seen in Class 10 Open Dog is 104, Champion 8 Bells of Seafowl, owned by Mrs. Pat Heath, bred by Mrs. Forward, sired by Champion Rupik Bellringer of Seafeld out of Isadora of Winterdown, born 2nd of the 4th, 86. Champion 8 Bells of Seafeld.
216.
28. Champion Sharmby's Hustler of Stainmere, owned by Dr. Bruce Kavanagh, bred by Mrs. Hood, side by champion Garnet Gellert of Stainmere out of Charmby's Pocanthus, born 30th of the 10th, 87. Champion Charmby's Hustler of Stainmere. Champion Leeburg Clinton, owned and bred by Mr. Peter Perrin, side by champion Tygarth Blue Kiwi out of Leeburg Christina, born 31st of the 5th, 87. Champion Leeburg Clinton. Champion Bitter Shout and Roar, owned and bred by Mr. and Mrs. Andrew and Pat Varney, side by champion Fair Dawn Pheasant Plucker out of Hot Hooch of Tygarth, born 8th of the 9th, 86. Champion Bitter Shout and Roar. Rustar Play for Pleasure, owned and bred by Mr. Paul and Mrs. Tina Russell, side by champion Fair Dawn Pheasant Plucker out of Rustar Fine Art, born 19th of the 12th, 85. Rustar Play for Pleasure. Champion 8 Bells of Seafeld, Champion Charmby's Hustler of Stainmere, Champion Leeburg Clinton, Champion Bitter Shout and Roar, and Rustar Play for Pleasure. Champion Bitter Shout and Roar, Champion Leeburg Clinton, Champion Charmby's Hustler of Stainmere, and Champion 8 Bells of Seafeld. First, Champion Charmby's Hustler of Stainmere, second champion Leeburg Clinton, third champion 8 Bells of Seafowl, reserve champion Bitter Shout and Roar, and BHC Rustar Playtime. Once again first, open dog, champion Charmby's Hustler of Stainmere. Class 11, veteran dog, 3 entries. Jackers Luke Lively, Jackers Lively Road, Colmere Saxon Warrior, and Norwatch Ghost Rider Santana.
This lady broke a hip here last year and she returned this year to show. Don't you think that's very brave of her?
3 entries and 1 transfer from open dog. 33, Jackers Luke Lively, owned bred by Mrs. Jan Chapman, side by Jackers Lively Road, out of Jackers Swoop Caroline, born 8th of the 10th, 79. Jackers Luke Lively. Jackers Luke Lively. Jackers a Lively Road, owned and bred by Mrs. Jan Chapman, side by Skelder Red Road, out of Step Lively of Skelder, born 30th of the 9th, 78. Jackers a Lively Road. 168. Colmere Saxon
I take the bed with me.
Owned and bred by Mr. K. Patton, side by Champion Seymour Status Symbol out of Duck's Cottage, Silver Bell, born 9th of the 8th, 80. Colmere Saxon Warrior. 223. Norwatch Ghost Rider of Santana, owned by Miss Sonia Whitfield and handled by her sister Tanya, led by Mrs. Helen Banks, side by champion Stainmere Knight Rider, out of Norwatch Mustang Wild, born 9th of the 8th, 82. Norwatch Ghost Rider of Santana. First veteran dog was Norwatch Ghost Rider of Santana, second Jackers Lively Rogue, third Colmere Saxon Warrior, and reserve Jackers Luke Lively. Once again, first veteran dog was Norwatch Ghost Rider of Santana. Unbeaten dogs. Norwatch Ghost Rider of Santana, winner of veteran dog. Champion Sharmby's Hustler of Stainmere, winner open dog. Vicalans Highlander of Tamarye, winner limit dog. Rustar Plate of the Crowd at Santana, winner minor limit dog. Tonitron All Glory of Wild Axe, winner postgraduate dog. Walk on Paddywhack, winner graduate dog. Honeywood Thank Heavens at Marancine, winner debutante dog. Stanton Oaks Daddy Jack, winner novice dog, but not present has been beaten. You've got Jimbren Roy Scott, winner junior dog. Gonnet Gaston of Leedberg, winner puppy dog. And you've got Skelder, Slinging Sleuth, winner of minor puppy dog. Honeywood Thank Heavens at Marancine. Walk on Paddywhack. Tonitron All Glory of Wild Axe. Rustar Plate of the Crowd at Santana. Vicalans Highlander of Tamarye, champion Sharmby's Hustler of Stainmere, and Norwatch Ghost Rider of Santana. The final three for the ticket are Jimbren Royal Scot, Vicalans Highlander of Tamarye, and champion Sharmby's Hustler of Stainmere. Once again, last three for the ticket are Jimbren Royal Scot, Vicalans Highlander of Tamarye, and champion Sharmby's Hustler of Stainmere. Is David making a mind up?
We were there by the stairs, and everybody has this because they're going in and out here.
Actually, that's what suits everyone, too much out of the way now.
Once again, the last three for the ticket are Jimbren Royal Scot, Vicalans Highlander of Tamarye, and champion Sharmby's Hustler of Stainmere.
The secretary's one. So I was told, Jimbren would be...
Yeah, the little girl though, it was so funny. When she went to buy a ticket, she had a little boy with her.
There's awards a ticket to Vicalans Highlander of Tamarye, winner of Limit Dog and Dog CC. So the last two for the challenging for the reserve challenge certificate are champion Sharmby's Hustler of Stainmere on the right, and Skelder Slinging Sleuths. Jimbren Royal Scot. Jimbren Royal Scot on the left, and champion Sharmby's Hustler of Stainmere on the right. This is the reserve CC. Champion Sharmby's Hustler of Stainmere. And Jimbren at Royal Scot.
Yeah. He's got the number and everything at home where they get it.
Yeah.
Jimbren Royal Scot gets the reserve CC. Dog CC goes to Vicalans Highlander, winner of Limit Dog and the Dog CC, and Reserve CC goes to Jimbren Royal Scot. Best puppy.
No, that was correct.
No, I'm sorry, Beth. Best puppy, it is right. You've got Skelder Slinging Sleuth and Garnet Gaston of Leedberg. Skelder Singing Sleuth, winner of Minor Puppy Dog. Gonnet Gaston of Leedberg, winner of Puppy Dog. This is the best puppy dog. Skelder Singing Sleuth. And Garnet Gaston of Leedberg. Best puppy dog is Skelder Singing Sleuth. best of breed, you've got Vicalans Highlander, dog CC, and champion Skelder Corn Dolly, bitch CC. John Eucas, who is judging the bitches and is now looking at Vicalans Highlander. And Vicalans Highlander, winner of dog CC, gets the best of breed. Vicalans Highlander of Tamarye. This is for best veteran. You've got Bojo Midnight Lace, veteran pinch, and Norwatch Ghost Rider of Santana, veteran dog winner. Bojo Midnight Lace and Norwatch Ghost Rider of Santana.
Thank you.
Norwatch Ghost Rider of Santana, winner of veteran dog. And Bojo Midnight Lace, winner of veteran dog. John Eucas and Liz Davies.
Even more confused.
Because he's got guns in water.
In this section, the ones with
One photograph of the dogs. She wants to buy a little penny to stand just out of sight.
Norwatch Ghost Rider of Santana and Bojo Midnight Lace.
In the car all day long, all by herself. Nobody to love her.
It just goes in the column. This is for a total of the show. Store rental.
Bojo Midnight Lace gets the best veteran.
There's a hard half as well.
Ladies and gentlemen,